All right, Kevin back with you for another episode of $1 Million Relationships. And today I am here with my friend Joe Foley. Joe, welcome. So awesome to have you today.
Hi, Kev. Thanks. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. And what is really cool, Joe and I'm trying, I remember like we met through Joe Polish's Genius Network group. That's how we met.
Mhm.
And I remember, I don't remember what year it was, but I remember we were in New York City at one of Joe's annual Genius Network events. And on one of the breaks, you were like, "Hey, Kev, do you mind sitting down and having lunch? I would just like to talk with you about a few things." And from that point on, you and I have been good friends ever since. and
Yeah.
so, and I want to say that was probably a good 10 years ago. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. And so, to uh, and to think now, here I am hosting a podcast that conveys the value of relationships, and that relationships are the most valuable asset we as entrepreneurs possess. And to have you here with me today is just testament to exactly what we're talking about here. And so
Mhm.
I'm really excited to have this conversation. What I'd like to do is just kind of start off by turning it over to you and letting you share a little bit about what you do, who you serve, what inspires you about the work that you do, and just give everybody a little bit of context and let them know who Joe Foley is and what Joe's all about.
Okay. Well, thank you, Kev.
Yeah.
Yeah. What Joe Foley does is I lead a team of 120 people. We have a business in Chicago, and we do fulfillment for a lot of people who sell their products on the internet. Like e-commerce companies. So we ship out supplements and docu-series and printed books, and we ship between 5 and 20,000 orders every day,
Wow.
7 days a week.
Wow.
And this company is 38 years old, so it's unbelievable. And I worked my way up from an employee to the CEO, and I have a partner, David, and he as well. He's been there as long as I, and we both have built this business. And I've never really said it in a sentence until Kevin did his introduction and started talking about relationships. I believe our whole business model is built on relationships because we've built our business all in referrals. We've never been great at marketing. Um, we've just had good clients refer us to other good clients, and we've kept the business, these loyal clients, by these strong relationships, like Kevin just mentioned. So we're
Wow.
just so grateful to be in this business, and 38 years now. It's amazing.
Wow. 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 Yeah, and you serve, I mean, some pretty amazing clients,
Mhm.
and yeah, been and to have a business that truly has been built on the back of referrals. A lot of people talk that like, oh yeah, referrals are, great, but like, there's very few businesses that are built solely on the back of referrals. And
Mhm.
you got to be doing something really right in order for that to be the case. And so,
Yeah.
kudos to you guys for that. Kudos to you guys.
Uh, Thank you. And we've also been blessed to serve incredible clients. Like our name is kind of old fashioned nowadays, corporate disc company. It used to mean diskettes.
Uh-huh.
Now young people don't even know what diskettes are. And 4 or 5 years ago, we came up with an acronym that describes kind of who we like to serve now, and that's we took the DISK and diskettes and made it delivering inspiration and specialized knowledge. because we really enjoy helping people make an impact in the world. And Kevin knows this particular story about an account. Somebody we served a long time ago. It was a docuseries called "Truth About Cancer."
Mm-hmm.
It was so gigantic, so amazing. And before that day, or the few months that we worked on that project, we used to think of ourselves as just a printer or just a fulfillment house. And when we were working on that important information, we started thinking, well, gosh, we're helping people in throughout the world that need information about cancer. You know, whether they're the people suffering, or the families, or the doctors, and it all of a sudden inspired us and realized that we're not just printing, we're not just shipping products, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so now we try to target people that have a lot of health and wellness products, and love to get help people that are, you know, shipping really quality stuff that's going to help people live long, healthy lives.
Well, you know, I think it comes down to what you just said. You know, when you and that was really because you know, when that truth about cancer, when that product came out, and my friend Manny reached out and was like, Kevin, he's like, you know, we really need somebody to help us with this, and that we can count on, that it will be created and shipped in a timely manner and all of that. He's like, that was the most important thing to them. And I was like, yeah. It's like, you know what, Joe's the guy that you guys need to talk with. And you know, when you had that epiphany, if you will, that, like, you know what, well, first of all, when that order shipped, Joe, because I don't remember the number now, but I remember you told it to me way back when that happened. How many semi trucks did that order fill?
I'm thinking between 7 and 8.
Yeah, yeah.
Big trucks.
And I
And
remember
you
when
know,
you
like
told me that.
a truck holds like 26 big skids, so that's a lot of materials.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've done about 60 docuseries since then.
Wow.
You know, it's the same thing. The relationships from one person who's successful doing the docuseries might do another one.
Yep.
Or they'll tell somebody else, well, we worked with Disc, and you know, it's all about relationships.
And when you had that epiphany that we're not just printing and fulfilling an order here, we are helping make an impact in this world. We are helping to disseminate this information to people who really need it and want it. And you know, it now became a shift from, like, because you realize what an impact that you're making in this world as well by serving the clients that you serve. And of course, now you've also come to realize that, you know, your ideal client is not somebody who just wants to sell stuff or what have you. It's those who want to make a real impact in the world. And that's who your best clients are. That's who you love over delivering for, all of that kind of stuff. It's all about the impact. And so I really appreciate you sharing that, because that was a big epiphany for you. It's also been a big epiphany for me too, because that's who I love serving. I love serving entrepreneurs who are focused on impact and legacy. And those are the most exciting people to help. So,
Yeah, for you and I, that's our why, that's our purpose. And
yeah.
I mean, that's why you try so hard, and because you know everything you do has the potential of the ripple effect to help others.
Yeah, yeah. So now that people have a little bit of context, I'm going to shift gears and I'll reiterate the question for the benefit of the listeners. So, have you ever been introduced to a person that completely changed the course of your life or your business, so much so that much of what you have today would not be possible if not for this person? And Joe, I'm really excited to hear you share your story, your experience around this, as well as be able to honor somebody who's had such a profound impact on your life and on your business.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kev. And these gray hairs that or white or whatever you call it shows that been around for a long time, and I've had the good fortune to be a kind of person that everything's going great, so it's pretty easy to be super grateful about the business and the life I've built. And I've looked back, and man, I am a really blessed man. And there are a lot of people that I really helped me along the way. And I I know you'd really like to get this one person out of me. And I think I have one that I'm gonna elaborate on, but I have to start by naming just a few of them. But
Okay.
I'll be fast. Yeah. My dad, unbelievable tough guy from World War II, had this amazing work ethic. Very strict, but he worked from 8 to 5, and he came home, and he was strict at dinner, and he had this work ethic, and he ran a really tight ship at our house. And every Saturday morning, we got up at 7. I had 5 hours of chores with my dad, and I didn't really enjoy it some of those years. But now I'm thinking, oh my God, that's where my work ethic came from. And then I have to thank my brother-in-law. Right out of college, I had this cool job. I was manager of a department store that had 150 people working there. And my brother-in-law came to visit. He was like a very successful commercial real estate guy.
Okay.
And so he sold big, giant deals. And I was telling him how much I loved my job, and he asked me how much I made, and I told him. And right out of school and retail, even with all that responsibility, for an hourly pay, considering you work 60 or 70 hours a week, it was not very good. And he goes, well, why don't you try sales? And I'm like, I don't think I'm a salesman, because I thought of sales as like car dealers or something that try to talk you into buying something you don't need. But he said, you don't want to live your life with regrets. And he encouraged me to consider sales. Then my other brother-in-law was a printing salesman. And he told me, well, heck, if you're going to sell something, you might as well sell printing, because there you build relationships, like Kevin and I were talking earlier. So I started selling printing, and I started figuring out that I'm really good at building relationships, just like Kevin and I were talking. And because it's never just one sale. After you sell somebody some printing, then they usually buy something else, and then they run out and have to reorder. So you're just kind of like building friends when you're in the printing business. And that led me to Corporate Disc, where I was hired as the employee as a printing expert. And that's what I did at Corporate Disc, is I taught everybody there how to print, how to market printing to their customers. And then one day I met this guy who had started this software company called Install Shield. And that was back in the very beginnings of the internet. And he told me that someday Corporate Disc was going to be a fulfillment house. And I was like, I thought to myself, I don't think so. But turns out he was a very smart man. He told me about how the internet was going to come, and someday the software would get transferred on a different medium, like before CDs and DVDs. And then he even predicted that there'd be electronic distribution. Wow. For a guy who focus was on the printed word on paper. But he was right. And now so many years later, we do have a business like that. And he was so wise to teach me that.
Wow.
And then now I'm going to transition into this guy named Jeff Walker. Oh my God. He's he has a product called the Product Launch Formula. And his very first product ever was called the Product Launch Formula. And he gave us an order for that. We didn't know who he was. And we copied the CDs and DVDs that go inside and the printed book, and we shipped it to his customers. And then each person that bought the program got a chance to come to this live event. And somebody from Jeff's team invited Cindy from my team and I to attend the event. And I'm so embarrassed to tell you guys what I said. Well, we already got this Jeff's order. Why do we, need to go to this event? And Cindy said, well, they think it's going to be really good for us, and I think we should try it. And I said, well, it is in Colorado. Let's give it a try. So we went there, and at 10 o'clock on the very first day, we had no idea what was going on. Mm-hmm. And break time came. You know how the large events have a little break, after you get started. And right before break, he said, Joe Foley, Cindy, are you in the audience? And he said, stand up. And we stood up, and I'm like nervous wreck. I don't know what's going on. And then he said, well, everybody here, I want you to know, Joe and his company and Cindy, they're the reason that all you people are here. They manufactured my product launch formula and shipped it all around the world flawlessly. Everybody got it on time. Everybody's here. Everybody started using it. So if you want to meet them, they'll be in outside the event room. We were out there from the first break till lunchtime. Wow. With people coming up to us. And it was such an amazing feeling. But in addition to that, we're scooping up business cards, because this was a while ago where they were still the paper business cards. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of additional relationships, and it was all because of Jeff and that product launch formula, and definitely changed my life and our business life.
Wow.
So there's more. I go back to the room after lunch. My seat I was at originally is long gone, and I can only find one seat in the back of the room. And I think it was kind of where the speakers were sitting, and it was just the only spot. So I sat next to somebody, and I didn't know who he was. And there was eventually a point where Jeff encouraged you to meet the person next to you, and he introduces himself, and he says, Evan Pagan. And then my mouth dropped, because I had another account that, we called it David D'Angelo. It was called Double Your Dating. Mm-hmm. We had no idea what that product was, except it was about dating. But anyways, I met Evan. And so between Jeff and Evan, that one day, oh my God, that was magical, because Evan ended up interviewing so many people and introducing us to so many other future clients. Mm-hmm. That was quite the day. He even told me, hey, Joe, I'm having an event called Get Altitude. He was kind of done with his Double Your Dating, or not focused on it. And he was starting a new business mastermind group called Get Altitude. So he said, why don't you come to that? And I'm having the best day of my life. So I go, okay, I'm in. I went to that one. And then I met Joe Polish there.
You did, huh? You met Joe at Evan's event. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
And so that led to a lot of stuff. At Get Altitude, the guys who were doing the videos and stuff
Uh-huh.
were his name's Sean Royster. He has a
Oh
company
yeah.
called Royster Productions.
Yep. Yep.
Well, he did all of Evan's stuff and always has. And and then he told me about this cool event up in Canada called Engage Today.
Uh-huh.
And that's the Dalai Lama went to that event.
I remember that. That was like in what, 2008 or somewhere around
Yeah.
there, I think. Yeah, I remember
And
that.
Richard Branson and Brendan Bouchard, who became a huge client for us. So it's a pretty cool day, wasn't it? That the just relationship after relationship. Engaged Today, I met this incredible man there named Karush. He worked with Greg Habstrid.
Okay.
And he told me to design the box that he wanted everybody who attended the event to get a special box that had all the videos of everybody that was at the event and the printed books and stuff. But he said, Joe, I want you to design the box. And I'm like, we're normally, back in those days, we were used to just giving people what they want. Like, you want something printed, we'll print it. But no one ever said, hey, I'm having this important event and I want you to design the box. So it's hard to really do something special with a box. So the only thing I could think of was I made it kind of like a briefcase where it had a little handle. And it was only a little feature that I added, 75-cent feature, a little plastic handle, but it added to their beautiful graphics and it made the box easy to carry for people. And so that's my amazing day. And Brendan Bouchard spoke at that event, and then he became a big client. One of my biggest one time he was the number one, and he actually put a referral to DISC in his product. Like, not only does he talk about us on stage to people, but we were actually in his product called Speaking World's Greatest Speaker or something like that.
Okay.
So he told everybody who used that product, right inside the product, it said you got to call up DISC when you need your materials.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Those people changed my life, but it's really that work ethic. And I've always been the kind of person that I believe you just serve people. You do what you can to help people. That's why I like printing and the project management type of stuff about fulfillment. Like, I never try to sell anybody anything. I just like to serve them and then get referrals.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, that feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an absolutely amazing story that, through you serving Jeff and helping him out with his initial version of product launch formula way back when, which, since then product launch formulas, it's kind of become a kind of a big deal. A lot of people have invested in that over the years. That's become a big deal. But you were there right from the beginning, and they invite you to this seminar, and you're like, why do we want to go to this event that he's doing? He's a client. Yeah, we got, but why would we go to the event? And then now what transpired there, and how many more relationships. And I guarantee you that from all those relationships, you could splinter off into a whole bunch more, and it all just comes from just being of service to other people and giving them because here's what I always tell people is like, nobody refers us because, I mean, you have so many people will reach out and like, hey, if you refer me, I'll pay you a percentage or whatever. I'll compensate. And we don't refer for that. That's not our motivation for doing that. We refer because we've had a great experience. Somebody's given us a great experience, and we just want to share that experience with other people. That's why we
Yeah.
refer, and so really, I never ask people to refer me for anything. I always, who else do you know that would appreciate having the experience that you've had,
Right.
and because now it gets them thinking about, oh yeah, I know somebody who would really appreciate having that kind of experience, just like Jeff would. That's why Jeff
Yeah.
did that, and he
Yeah.
would have never put you up in front of those people, regardless of how much he could have made or anything, if he thought for 1 second that you would damage the relationship that he had with any of those people.
Yeah.
He did that because he appreciated you, because he appreciated the experience that he'd had with you, and he just wanted to share that experience with other people. And that's the way it's been for everybody who you've had relationships with.
Yeah. Once I asked Jeff after joining the Genius Network, and which I've been a member for a long time. There was a few years back where they were had the sponsors with the tables outside of the event, and then they were organizing some testimonials and stuff. So Jeff Walker and JJ Virgin did a testimonial for Disc, and Jeff was kind of funny, but he was telling the truth when he said, about all the great service and everything we've provided. But he basically said what you just said, Kev. He said he didn't. He's sent so much business our way, but he didn't ever do it for anything. And he said, I've only received, some great cookies, Christmas cookies, once a year for 10 years. So it's like, I started to think, oh boy, I'm kind of cheap on my gifts. But he was really saying that he appreciates and cares about us. And, he doesn't need a check. He doesn't want a check. He appreciates the good service, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and for, and that's, I mean, the relationships that we have as entrepreneurs, as founders, as CEOs is the most valuable asset that we possess.
Mm-hmm.
And you sharing what you did today just reiterated that. I mean, it just was such an amazing example of that. And so for anybody listening to this going, man, Kevin, I love that Joe guy. I love the way Joe shows up. Anybody wanted to follow up with you? What's the best way for them to do that, to find out more about what you guys do?
Well, we're pretty blessed to have a 4-digit URL, disk.com. So that's pretty cool. We had that in 1995. And then I'm Joe at disc.com. So that's pretty easy if you wanted to reach out to me that way. And I'd be honored to help you because I just love helping people and giving them great service. I have an amazing team. For being here for 38 years, we've got some people on our team that have been here 25 years, 20 years. And
wow.
So we're experts, but we still just want to do something special, like add the little plastic candle on the Engage Today box. We want to be the value added, because we're old fashioned here. We do we work hard, follow up, follow through. We do all that old fashioned stuff here.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's the stuff that works,
Mm-hmm.
So, well, Joe, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation today and share your experience around this topic. And any last words before we call it a wrap?
Yes, there's somebody else that I didn't get to thank yet. His name is Kevin Thompson. Sir, you have helped me so much since I met you 10 years ago. I consider you a friend, a mentor, and even though I didn't mention you yet, you are an important person in my life, and I appreciate you and all the great relationships you have out there, and how much you care about what you do. And you're an amazing man. I
Well,
want to
thank
thank you.
you. Thank you. I mean, I really appreciate that. And the feeling is definitely mutual, Joe. Well, thanks again for taking the time to have this conversation. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate you.